Welcome to LSB Feaster's Radio Aircheck and Classic TV channel.
Yeah, that's Roughneck, and it's by Dwayne Eddy on RCA Victor. The time is now 24 minutes after 1 o'clock. And here's Vicky Carr and a tune entitled San Francisco.
It only takes a tiny corner of
the voice of Vicky Carr there, and San Francisco on KOHI in St. Helens, where the time is now 27 minutes after 1 o'clock. Here's the orchestra of Jimmy Haskell. Jimmy Haskell's orchestra there, and music from Russia with Love. Taking us up to news time now, here's Dean Martin.
How sweet it is here in a night.
The time in St. Helens is now 1:31, and time for news headlines. President Johnson leaves Washington today for his Texas ranch, where he will recuperate from his gallbladder operation. Congressmen and senators headed out of Washington today following adjournment, and Republican leaders took time before leaving to label Congress a hip pocket outfit. We'll have more news headlines for you after this word.
This is Bob Hope reminding you that time off can merely mean time in his hands to a GI who's miles from home. Make sure the USO reaches him with the home-style recreation he needs. He's your investment in freedom. Don't shortchange him. Support the USO through United Fund to your community chest.
The Swiss ambassador to Havana flew into Washington today, sparking reports that Cuba and the U.S. are nearing agreement on handling of refugees trying to leave Cuba. And the final countdown began for the Gemini 6 shot today, and weather difficulties appear to be the only threat to the scheduled launch on Monday. Those are news headlines to this hour. We'll have the full stories on these and other stories for you at 2 p.m. this afternoon on Radio KOHI in St. Helens. Continuing with the Weekend with Roy show, here's the orchestra of Frank Checksfield. The Frank Checksfield Orchestra there on the Weekend with Roy show with the theme music from A New Kind of Love. The time in St. Helens is now 25 minutes before 2. And here's the World of Strings with the Third Man theme. World of Strings conducted by Johnny Gregory there, and the theme from The Third Man in cha-cha form. The time is now 22 minutes before 2 o'clock. Buy the gas that makes your car perform the best. That's good advice from automotive engineers. If your engine starts to knock or ping, step up to a higher grade. You can do this at any time at Marv's Union Service, Columbia Boulevard, St. Helens, because they pump only the best, Union 76. Now, every mile you drive new Royal 76 gasoline gives your engine a chemical tune-up. New Royal 76 minimizes the formation of varnish and sludge deposits on pistons and valves, prevents pre-ignition knock, and new Royal 76 gasoline cleans your carburetor continuously. So if your car engine is giving you knock and ping troubles, eliminate it with Royal 76 gasoline from the pumps at Marv's Union Service, Columbia Boulevard in St. Helens. Here now is the voice of Tony Fisher. Music from the house next door.
Since you went away, I keep
That's the voice of Tony Fisher. The music from the house next door. The time in St. Helens is now 19 minutes before 2 p.m. And from the album Candy's Theme and Other Sweets, here's the orchestra of Hugo Montenegro and Candy's Theme. The orchestra of Hugo Montenegro there and Candy's Theme. Here's the voice of Johnny Nash. The voice of Jane Morgan there on KOHI in the Weekend with Roy show. Coming to you on the 1600 spot on your radio dial right here in St. Helens, where the time is 8 minutes before 2 p.m. in the afternoon, this Saturday afternoon, October 23rd, 1965. You know, every housewife faces two problems: keeping the budget under control without sacrificing the nutrition her family needs, and the planning of restful, appetizing meals. Smart housewives have found the answers at Zetterberg's Grocery in St. Helens. The lower prices at Zetterberg's Grocery help cut the budget, but the quality remains the highest, and the tremendous variety of food gives unlimited choice for menus that are tempting as well as nutritious. For instance, we suggest you stock up on luncheon meats at Zetterberg's Grocery, meats that are vacuum-packed for freshness and flavor, and full of proteins, food, iron, and B vitamins. Get quality products at low prices at Zetterberg's Grocery in West Street in St. Helens. The theme from the Sundowners, the music of Felix Slatkin and his orchestra. Here now is the voice of Adam Wade. Taking us up to news time, here's the orchestra of Billy Vaughn and Wheels. Billy Vaughn and his orchestra and Wheels, which brings us up to the 2 o'clock mark on KOHI in St. Helens, and time for news. With Congress adjourned and its work on the law books, the exodus from Washington has begun. Democrats are pointing to the achievements of the first session of the 89th Congress with pride. Some Republicans suggest the session was long on quantity but short on quality. And President Johnson looked forward to some time of his ranch in Texas, where he will recuperate from surgery and hammer into shape what he wants the next session of Congress to do. President Johnson, expressing high praise for the second written on Capitol Hill, left Washington this afternoon for the LBJ Ranch. Observers say Mr. Johnson's probably will stay there for much of the rest of the year. Before departing, he conferred with Secretary of State Rusk and congressional leaders. He signed some legislation and made a new appeal for civil rights action. Mr. Johnson, already looking ahead to the 1966 session of the Congress, served notice he wants it next year to make bricks and mortar out of a promise for rent subsidies to low-income Americans. The best he won from this session was a $450,000 grant to finance study of the program. The president's doctors appear satisfied with his progress after gallbladder surgery October 8th, and estimated it will take him up to 6 weeks.